What's going on there, everyone? Well, first, I'm going to start off with a slightly older story. It's from 3 days ago. Cory Booker. Cory takes campaign to Mexico, assist asylum seekers. This is a relatively quick story. I'm not going to go through all the tweets and stuff and all the videos that were associated with it. I'm just going to try to read the main story. Democrat presidential hopeful Senator Cory Booker traveled to Juarez, Mexico Wednesday, where he assisted asylum seekers across the Santa Fe Bridge into El Paso, Texas, according to reporters who accompanied Booker. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description for y'all if y'all want to watch the videos and whatnot. You can, no worries. I'm going to fight for these 5 folks and do everything I can to see that they get fairly evaluated, Booker said after arriving in El Paso, Texas. This is a long process and they're now engaged in. I'm gonna make sure that my office does the right thing. When speaking to reporters, Booker also took aim at President Donald Trump and claimed he was to blame for the horrible things that are taking place at the border, which is patently false. It's given me a greater conviction, a greater sense of determination to fix this broken system and to correct the horrible things that Donald Trump is doing from the executive office, Booker said. Yeah, like all the things that y'all Democrats wanted just a couple years ago, right before Donald Trump. Border used to be on y'all's mind too, and it used to be very, very important. What happened? I think a lot of people would like to know that. I believe that the next president can transform the system to make it safer and stronger as a nation. Y'all are promoting open borders policy, globalistic view policy. That's not. Ask Europe how that worked out. Why do you think Europe's turning national populist? It's because of the open border policies that let a bunch of people from a bunch of different nations that have nothing in common with Europeans, they flooded in and caused so many different types of violent acts on an everyday basis. There's so much wrong with Europe, and that's why Europe is turning national populist now. Democrats, not all, but these leftist progressive Democrats are truly insane. Booker's visit to Mexico comes just days after 2020 Democrat presidential hopeful Robert Francis O'Rourke Beto, to pander, traveled to the country to visit with migrants not admitted to the U.S. at the southern border. Okay, there's that. And as you can see, these people are campaigning to get Spanish votes, but not legal Spanish votes. A lot of, from what I've been seeing on social media and that, and the other, take it with a grain of salt, a lot of Hispanics that are here legally, that live here, that consider themselves proud Americans, don't even like the fact that during the Democratic debates they spoke Spanish. They thought that was very messed up. I don't know, I mean, to me it was pandering, of course, but I think they felt the same way, in a big way. They were not received well from what I'm seeing on social media. But let's switch over. This was from Breitbart, which is very partisan. But let's switch over to the Daily Caller, which I think they're still partisan, I believe, but they do a lot better job. Report. Democratic representatives sending staff to Mexico to coach returned migrants to pretend not to speak Spanish. Now, what we saw with Cory Booker, we saw him aid and abet in a crime. He, on television, this is a member of our government going down to Mexico and aiding and abetting and bringing over illegal aliens. What they're doing by crossing and coming to America illegally, I believe, is technically a felony. And he helped them commit a felony. He should be removed from office and possibly charged. But that'll never happen. That'll never happen. But let's continue with this story. Texas Democratic, Texas and the Democrats. I don't want to see Texas turn blue, but it looks like it might happen. Texas Democrat Representative Veronica Escobar, very popular name, is reportedly sending staff members into Mexico in order to coach migrants returned from the U.S. on how to exploit a legal loophole that would allow them back inside the country. The Washington Examiner's Anna Gartelli, revealed in a report Friday that Escobar, who replaced former Texas representative and current Democratic presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke in the House, is sending staff members to I don't want to pronounce that first word because I don't want to ruin it. Juarez, Mexico, to find migrants returned from El Paso, Texas, under the Remain in Mexico policy, then coach them to pretend they cannot speak Spanish to exploit a loophole letting them into the U.S. So, what I'm really getting is these Democrats, they're not for Americans. They don't care about the plights of the American people. They know they're losing voter base through American people, so they're trying to import a new voter base. That's what they're doing. That's the only thing that would even make sense of this situation. I just don't get it. The Examiner reported the National Border Patrol's Council's El Paso chapter and several Customs and Border Protection personnel told the Washington Examiner aides to Representative Veronica Escobar and the local Catholic diocese have interviewed thousands of migrants in Juarez over the past few weeks to find cases where Department of Homeland Security officials may have wrongly returned people. Well, the way I see it, if you came here illegally, there's no wrong way to deport you. If you came here illegally, you should be deported immediately. If it was up to me, these people would be put on planes and sent back to their home country, to where they wouldn't just be sitting on the Mexico border plotting on, okay, how am I going to get over there this time? But no, that makes me a bad person. What we believe is happening is Veronica Escobar's office is going to basically second guess and obstruct work already done by the Border Patrol, a union official told the Washington Examiner. The loophole exists because the Remain in Mexico policy requires return migrants to be fluent in Spanish while they stay in that country for up to 5 years pending a U.S. judge's asylum claim decision. Most of these people are not valid asylum claims. They're just not. They're coming here because they want to try to make money. Or, like some reports have reported coming straight from their mouths, they miss video games and Buffalo Wild Wings. That's not all of them. I understand there are some probably coming up here legitly, but there's so many flooding right now that the poor bastards that are trying to receive a legitimate asylum claim, they have to wait in an extraordinarily long line because you have so many frivolent cases. What are we hearing from management is that they're attempting to return people, and the story was changed in Mexico, where a person who understood Spanish before now doesn't understand, where a person who didn't have any health issues before now has health issues, the union representative told the Examiner. They went through and interviewed everybody, cherry-picking them, brought them back, and now are using them as taglines. They're going over there and manufacturing a lot of these issues. The representative continued speaking about around 6,000, returned migrants who were interviewed by Escobar's team. A former federal immigration judge, Mark H. Metcalf, told the Examiner that Escobar's involvement was probably more of a stunt than a genuine threat to the integrity of the process. I don't believe that. I think every time any one of these Democratic leaders or representatives, excuse me, that was a big mistake. They are not leaders in any way. But, yeah, they're obstructionists. They don't care about American law. They don't care about none of our institutions that are here to protect our country. These people are horrible people. Beto O'Rourke, who once represented Escobar's border district, visited Juarez just last week to speak with migrants and shed light on the desperate circumstances those who are seeking asylum and refuge are fleeing, and the conditions these families and individuals are forced to endure when they have been turned away from our borders. Well, I want to hearken to the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama has recently come out and is now being called far right, and he's even been called a Nazi by some left-wing organizations because he believes that places are for that population. He in Europe right now, with the migrant influx that's happening over there and destroying Europe from within, he sees that Germany is for Germans, England is for Englanders, Sweden's for Sweden or Swedish. He wants to know why all these people are coming to these once great places and destroying them by bringing with them the same thought processes and ideologies that destroyed their homelands. And that's what we're going to see here. This is the inevitable circle of destruction that is globalism. Globalistic views are not proper. It's a fantasy. People don't. How would I frame this? People don't necessarily get along with people that are different from them. And goes true not just for humankind, this goes for animals also. It's sentient being nature to not quite get along with things that are different from you. And I'm not saying this is an argument like with black and white or Hispanic and Asian people. No. It's people that come from completely different cultures and customs and traditions. While we prop up everyone else's, here in America we do this very, very badly. We prop up everyone else's customs, cultures, and traditions while spitting on our own and destroying our own to better suit the needs of fringe groups. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. And everyone who is a centrist leftist or anything like that may watch this channel, this is a call to you to understand what people that claim to be representing you actually represent. They're not about you. They used to be, or at least they feigned they were about you. But the party, the Democratic Party, is letting a fringe group of wackaloons, that is the progressives, destroy their whole party. They're destroying it, and I don't see any end in sight, and I don't see where this is going to change because, I thought with people like Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, more of your centrist, you'd think them trying to talk a little bit of sense, Joe Biden less, because he's a human gaffe machine. The guy just cannot. If he gets put in a bind with a camera in front of him, he's going to say something stupid. But with the Tulsi Gabbard type, she is trying to hold the line. She still panders to the left, far left here and there. And that's going to crush her. That'll end up crushing her. You see that right now that Kamala Harris is moving up in polls like she is right there neck and neck with Joe Biden. And she's no better. She's no better at all. She panders hard. She panders to the progressives very hard. This is a former prosecutor who says she's going to do this, that, and the other to help everybody. She wasn't ever helping them before. She was making sure people went to jail for quite some time over petty little drug charges and stuff. So, I don't know. These people, these new Democrats are completely out of their minds, people. They are a threat. They are one of the biggest threats to our country I've ever seen in my life. because they don't care about our country. Not at all. They care about, they care more right now about illegal aliens than they do about the poor Americans sleeping in the streets, covered in filth, out there on the West Coast. It's sad. It's sad and it's pathetic that the Democratic Party has gone this route. Instead of protecting Americans, instead of trying to get and address our problems that are making our country less safe and weaker, no. They would much rather try to help more people come in here because they believe that'll be their new voter base, because regular old Americans do not seem to like this progressive wave that is ravaging the Democratic Party. But yeah, as always, I'd love to hear your comments. See what y'all think about this, whether you think I'm just being hyperbolic or not. I don't believe I am. I think this is a serious, serious problem and a serious threat to our national security and just our way of life as a whole. But as always, like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch y'all on the flip side.